Sounds
this
good.
off.
Yeah, that's probably a good idea. Let me put it on airplane mode. Turn off all these other apps. No distractions, no distractions. Okay. Jeez, crank on the seat. All right. Well, welcome to LiveWire Film Reviews. My name is Ronaldo Gonzalez, but you can call me Ray. And with me, I got my man Andrew McMullen, but you can call him Andy.
Andy Mack.
There you go. And like I said, this is LiveWire Film Reviews. We're going to talk about films, the ones you've seen, the ones you haven't seen, the ones you're thinking about seeing. Today's our first day, first movie. We're going to take it real slow.
Real slow.
So let's talk about how we're going to rate the movies. We're going to rate them with the golden standard of how people rate movies, with the 5-star rating. So if it's a piece of shit, you can go, 1 star. If you really hate the motherfucker, you can even go to half a star.
Half a star.
Now, if you love the movie, it's a classic, we got that Godfather feel, then we go with the 5 stars. And you know everything else in between, the mediocre shit. So, yeah, that's how we're gonna do it. Let's start off with the first movie we got going on. Not a lot of people have heard about this movie, at least in the United States, but it's been talked about a lot overseas. Apparently won 3 Australian Oscars. I didn't even know that they called the Australian Oscars, but it even won Best Picture. It's got my man Russell Crowe, Gladiator, the cop and American Gangster, among other things. Superman's daddy.
Yeah,
there you go. Yeah.
That.
So yeah, he's the movie's called The Water Diviner. So this is also Russell Crowe's first directing debut. He's sitting at the director's chair. And like I said, the movie's a mixed bag. The Water Diviner. He plays the lead, of course, because it's Russell Crowe.
He's a leading man.
Yeah, and he's gonna make sure he's the boss in his movie, in front and behind the camera. Shit. So Russell Crowe plays Joshua Connor, a water diviner in Australia, where obviously there's probably not a lot of water where he comes from, and he goes into the middle of nowhere in the deserts and digs up with his magical powers to find water and whatnot. But that's not really what the movie's about. As a matter of fact, the movie has nothing to do with the fact that he's a water diviner. It's actually, the movie's set in World War I, with the Great Battle of Gallipoli, apparently, with a lot of casualties in war and everything. And he has 3 kids who also enlisted into this war and left. Their names were Edward, Henry, and Arthur. And they just bounced, and he was cool with it. And he just said to watch out for each other. Well, obviously the battle didn't go so well for everybody, and a lot of people died. And years have passed, and they just insinuate that the kids are probably dead. And he's trying to cope with it as best as he can. His wife, not so much. That bitch gone crazy. As soon as he gets home from work, from water divining, and she comes in and starts acting like the kids are still in bed, and he's forced to read them a bedtime story.
Yeah, I was like, what the?
You gotta read them a bedtime story. Bitch went off the deep end. I mean,
they were supposed to be older, right? At that time.
Yeah, they were like, they were enough to go to the war, like enough to go to war and shit. I guess they still need bedtime stories up in there. It's like, come on, daddy, read me my favorite bedtime story. You read me that Little Red Riding Hood, baby. So pretty much things go from bad to worse because his wife, and this is not even a spoiler because they show this shit in the trailers. Like they give this shit away so fast. The reason why he decides to go off and get his kids, because he felt so bad, because the next day bitch of a wife decides to just kill herself. So wakes up and she's drowned in the water, in the puddle right by, which makes me wonder if he's a water diviner.
She gonna do that to the water diviner?
I don't know.
This is my job.
You gonna taint the water? Now I gotta go get me some more water. Like,
fresh water.
Son of a. And to please his loving wife, he decides to take it upon his journey to travel to Gallipoli to collect the bodies of his kids. Even though nobody has any recollection of where the bodies are kept, he's going to use his powers and gifts as a water diviner to find his children, no matter what it takes. I was like I said, I felt a mixed bag over this shit. One, I kind of wish, there were subtitles for the Turkish soldiers and everything, but I kind of wish there were subtitles for the fucking English speaking, because whoever wasn't Russell Crowe, that Australian accent was thick as a motherfucker. Like, so, but other than that, he makes it, and on his journey, of course, he goes to Turkey, and he becomes friends with this woman who runs a hotel. He starts staying at this hotel, and the woman is Olga Kurilenko. Everybody knows her from Quantum of Solace and whatnot, the Bond girl. And he develops a relationship with her son. And through that, he develops a father-son relationship with the kid, and develops slowly but surely a relationship, a friendship with this woman.
It's good to know where they are. Not lost or nameless anymore. I was told my oldest son was taken prisoner.
So he's alive?
I don't know.
But you have hope.
Hope's a necessity where I come from.
That's one of the things that I really am mixed about with this kid. Cause one thing I found out about myself watching movies and stuff is that I hate little fucking kids in movies, man. I hate this little kid that, hey, be my friend, and then out of nowhere, like, you spend a day and you trying to go to the park with this dude, this complete stranger. Like, kid was annoying as hell to me, and I just didn't believe the relationship they had. As a matter of fact, I didn't believe any relationship anybody had with this character, with Russell Crowe. Like, it's nice and everything is well intentioned, but then he, when he gets to Gallipoli and everything, he meets certain generals. And the Turkish general, played by Yilmaz Erdogan, I hope I got that name correctly, he, I guess, sympathizes with him and decides to help him out. Decides to help him on his journey to find the bones of his children.
What are you doing with your farmer?
There's a supply ship back to Constantinople in 2 days.
Maybe we could help him until then.
You know what the chances of finding his boys are.
We have the day they were killed. I know the area.
Yeah, we both know it, but why change everything for one father who can't stay put?
Because he's the only father who came looking.
So, and you know what? This isn't even spoiler, because this is still on the trailer. But then you find out one of the kids may still be alive, but they don't know where he is. So the journey is to try to find this boy, to see if they can bring him back home and start a family anew. Very sweet, very bullshit, but don't believe a lick of this shit, but that's fine, and that's the main, that's the whole plot structure of the story. And like I said, you can catch all that in the trailer, no problem. Now let's talk about the good things in this movie. The performances are good. Russell Crowe, there's a reason why he decided to make himself the lead of this movie, the main character, because without him, I probably would have not even gone through the whole thing. I probably would have walked
It was
out.
all Russell.
Russell carried the movie. But there's also good performances around Russell. Apparently, Jai Courtney, everybody knows him as, John McClane's son in that shitty Die Hard movie. They also are gonna see him in the upcoming Terminator movie. He's gonna play Kyle Reese in the upcoming shitty Terminator movie. I mean, he just has the worst of luck with the shitty movies, but he was actually really good. Carried himself quite well, and his little part, I actually found him very, very interesting. It seems to me that whenever other directors / actors pick him up, because he was also in Angelina Jolie's Unbroken, and small part too, he actually does a good job. So he really doesn't do much for the plot, but And then there's Olga Kurylenko, and she was, she looking good.
Looking good.
She's doing her job right, She making sure she's looking good. But
do your job.
But it's just I like I said, I could not believe. It's more like a family film than anything else, if you really think about it. Because there's really not a lot of action. There's some action in the climax that to me just does not work at all, But it really tries to make sure that it has this family loving happy ending throughout, and there's this magic throughout the water divine that just did not work. He could not blend the gritty real life action of war with the fantasy of a family film. I mean, Andy, are there any good things that you actually liked about this movie?
And
Silence is golden.
I personally wasn't feeling the movie, but that's not to say that the movie was like really terrible.
Another thing. Apparently, Russell Crowe made this movie for $20 million, and that's actually quite impressive because there's a lot of set pieces that look like they belong in $100 million epic old school movie. The war scenes between the scenes where you view the war scenes with his kids are very well made, very well shot, that you thought would have been something out of a Spielberg movie. Very impressive, and it's for $20 million. Obviously Russell Crowe got a pay cut, but to make this shit work, but it was very impressive. It looked good. That's why it really looked good. So I give it that.
It was just hard for me to care.
Yeah.
But I kind of, I was still sticking with it because, it's Russell, Olga. Olga.
But yeah, I really can't say I can fully recommend this movie for everybody. And no matter, even though there's like I said, the technical merits for making this movie such an indie movie, are good, and the performances are well handled with care. The script is lousy script. Did not work for me. So to me, to be nice, because I'm gonna give it 2.5 stars to be nice, because I give him credit. This is his first time directing, and it's a big monumental historical picture that he wanted to do and mix it with family emotions, and
that sounds about right.
2.5. I kind of wish he grappled something a little more stirring, a tighter script, maybe even with the same story, but just a tighter script, something more polished. But that's just me. So yeah, I'm giving it 2.5 stars out of 5. Andy's giving it 2.5 stars out of 5. And yeah, see, that's all we got there for today. So yeah, that's The Water Diviner. Check it out. It's in theaters starting today. tonight actually, and then tomorrow you can even catch it on the IMAX. So yeah, that's it for now. If you want to contact us, hit us up at the email. It's livewirecritic@gmail.com. And check us out next time.
He's alive. I know he is.